creating seamless patterns from start to finish. First things first is creating a new canvas. And for this, we're going to use a square canvas. So whatever square size you have, 3000 by 3000 is what I use, and that's what we're going to do here. Once you resize your canvas, we're going to go ahead and start the design. So we'll be working on a leopard print design. So I'm going to go ahead and choose my brush. And for this, I use a round brush that I modified to have a tapered point. When I draw leopard print, I don't really draw in a certain way. I kind of just make the blobs, as I call them, kind of ink blobs, and I just place them where I feel like leopard print is. And just remember, a leopard spots are not perfect. A leopard, a cheetah, whatever, they are not perfect. So just kind of go through and add where you think that spots will be and how you think they will look. And that's what I'm doing for the remainder here. And yeah, you'll see that finished in the next step. So I did two things in this step. I went ahead and I'm going to add a second layer, and I'm also going to change my background color just so I can kind of get a better visual of what I'm doing with my spots. On that second layer, I'm going to go ahead and take that darker color that I'm going to be putting under my spot, and I'm going to add those in the different spots under the black, as you see. I'm also going to take that darker color and just put it in some random spots around where I see the empty spaces, and I'm going to take the black on that black layer and add some more spots on top of the pink. One thing to keep in mind when drawing your pattern, make sure that you stay away from the edges. So if you see, I have some spots that are close to the edge, but it never goes over the edge. That's really important in the seamless part of things because you don't want the edges to not meet, and it just shouldn't be touching. So just stay away from those edges. You can get as close as possible to them without going over the edge. So now that our pattern is finished, we're going to go ahead and do our save selections. So we are going to go ahead and make another layer. And on that layer, we're going to drag and drop the color that we're using for our background and turn off our background layer. With the new layer that we just created still selected, you are going to go ahead and choose your transform tool. And you're going to make sure magnetics and snapping are on, as well as the bilinear option at the end. We're going to make sure that is on, and then we're going to move on. These next steps are very important. So we're going to go ahead and grab one of the corners called nodes, and we're going to drag it until it is 50%. So 1500 by 1500 is the size for my canvas, being that I'm using a 3000 by 3000. Now you're going to go to your layers panel and you're going to select the contents of that layer. So you can do this by using your two fingers and pressing and hold on the layer until the selection appears. And then we're going to go ahead and choose save and load. And you're going to press at the plus button and you're going to make a selection. And you're going to do this for each corner. So once you do it, you're going to fill that layer, and then you're going to do it again for the next corner. So you snap it until you get to the size that it's supposed to be. And then you're going to go back to selection, save and load, and then you're going to add a new selection. So we're going to do this again. Fill the layer, drag a node to the corner, snap, press selection, save and load, add a new selection. One more time, we're going to color drop, drag the node, snap, selection, save and load, add a new selection. We are then going to choose that color layer we've been using and delete that. Now we just have our pattern that we previously created. We are then going to toggle our layers back on, and we're going to merge them. So you can take your two fingers on both layers and squeeze them together. Then we're going to create a new layer and place that under our pattern, and we're going to fill that with our background color. So we have two layers now. We're going to go ahead and group those two layers, and then we're going to collapse that group. With our new group selected, we're going to go ahead and go to selection and choose save and load. Then we're going to choose selection 1, and we are then going to take that selection 1 and hit flip horizontal and flip vertical. And we're going to do the same thing for each selection. So once again, we're going to do selection, save and load, selection 2. And we're going to take that and we're going to flip it horizontal and vertical. And we're going to do it again for the third time. Selection 3, horizontal and vertical. Then for the last time, Selection, save and load, selection 4. Transform, flip horizontal and vertical. Now on this stage, we're going to go ahead and clean up our pattern. So you're going to notice that there's some odd spacing in the middle, and we're going to go ahead and fill that in with more leopard prints. Another tip. Now you could easily go ahead and choose your selection tool and choose the lasso kind of tool and select some of these different spots and literally copy and paste them. But because I'm who I am, I'm drawing them all in. But make it easier yourself. Go ahead and select those things with the freehand tool and draw around the spot and fill those in. So I'm noticing here that some of my spots didn't touch the edges like they should have been since we did the flip. So I'm going to go ahead and take the brush that I used to create my spots and clean up those edges. We now have a finished pattern. Now we're going to go ahead and test this out to make sure it's truly seamless. So from here, you're going to go ahead and take that group that we created and duplicate it, and you're going to choose flatten. And we're going to duplicate that flattened layer 4 times. We are then going to go ahead and take each layer, drag a corner node to the middle, snap, and we're going to do that for each one. So another layer, take a corner node, drag it to the center, snap. Next layer, corner node, drag it to the center, snap. And the final layer, the same thing. Corner node, drag it to the center, and snap. You now have a seamless pattern. You can go ahead and zoom in and you see no lines. You can go ahead and delete those 4 layers that you just created. And then you can just go ahead and turn your group that you created back on, and that's your pattern. So we're going to go ahead and export that. So choose your actions tool. Go to share, and we're going to export that as a PNG and save to your device or wherever else you save your images.